Hi guys, it's Kelly and I am back again with another video. Today's video we are going to be using, I think it came out last year. It's a stamp set from Simon Says Stamp that is called An Arctic Christmas. And the reason that I love this, and I was so sad I didn't get to use it last year, is because it's basically a scene that's completely put together for you. So all you really need to do is stamp it and then just color it. It's like cake. So easy. So I'm stamping in Intense Black ink from Simon Says Stamp on Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. And I'm just going to stamp that down. I didn't get a great impression. That was my fault for not giving good pressure. Sometimes with bigger stamps, it's a little bit more difficult to get a good impression. You just got to give it the Sherry Carroll CPR method, and usually it'll work out. So I'm putting down a mask that I had cut. And then it didn't completely cover my paper, so I'm not cutting another one. I'm too lazy for that. So I'm just going to take a scrap piece of, 3M masking tape and just put it around the edge. So you may recognize this distressing combination because I have been using it quite a bit. I am adding in some wilted violet. But honestly, at the end of the day, I don't even know I could tell that it was there. So I'm covering the whole thing in Salty Ocean and then bringing in the wilted violet, not completely covering up the Salty Ocean. Guys, I pretty much do the same thing every time. Aren't you like, just Kelly, just stop talking. We know what you're doing. We could narrate it ourselves. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should have somebody else narrate my videos. Wouldn't that be entertaining? I've seen, there was a dad who did his daughter's makeup tutorial. It was hysterical because he had no idea what he was talking about. Anyway, so once I have the first layer of Distress ink down, I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'm starting with the Chip Sapphire, working all the way back down to the Salty Ocean over this bokeh stencil from Tonic. It's a large stencil, so it's kind of cool how it's the way that it scatters on down, so you can kind of pick the area that's going to work best for you. I chose to just go with the top because I thought that would be the least busy. So I put that down, and then I did go back in. You've heard me say in my videos, well, at least in the very last video I did anyway, that I always do my distress inks twice. Just so I get a better blend. You are not shocked to see these perfect pearls here because even when I have an interesting background with like a stencil and stuff, I still can't walk away from the shine. I can't. I love the perfect pearls so much. So I'm using a number 2 round brush and I'm being very light-handed with the amount of water I'm using because I am not working on watercolor paper. And I'm just kind of sprinkling that on. I didn't want really big droplets. Just a couple of little ones to, just add that shimmer. I'm going to go ahead and remove my mask. And then I'm going to start coloring. So this was so easy to do because I didn't even have to build that scene. So I pulled out basically all of my C markers. I think the only one I'm not using is the C9. And then I'm just going to start adding in my shading. So for the peaks of the mountains, I'm using a C1 and a C3. I'm adding shading from the bottom towards the top. I wanted the top to be white. While I was doing this, I noticed that there's an area in between the penguin and his scarf that I did not mask out that actually is the sky. So I just picked a Copic that was the same color as that Salty Ocean, either a BO2 or a BO4, depending upon how heavy-handed you are. I was pretty heavy-handed with this one. So I used the BO4 and then I just filled that in. To get some dimension on those mountain peaks, I'm doing almost like little triangles where the snow kind of comes up. The artist drew the snow up. So I'm adding little peaks there. And then it felt kind of, I don't know, just kind of artificial. So I went back in and added just a few little more strokes kind of in between there. And then I'm going to blend that back out with the C1. And I was happy with the way that they came out. There's so many things to color in this. I tried to keep my color palette, I guess, pretty limited. I'm coloring the penguins black because penguins are black and white. But I'm not doing just a straight black marker. Not that you can't. You totally can. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. I like my black objects to have a little bit more dimension. So I colored in with a C5. I'm adding some shading from the left-hand side with a C7, and then I'm going in with the 100, which is pure black. And then just blending them back out. And this is just a way to kind of create a highlight on your black objects and not have it just be one flat black color. I'm going to show you one other penguin, and then I'm going to do the other ones off camera because, like I said, there is a lot in here to color. I was doing, my husband and my father-in-law are building a shed. We're getting a shed. So they were outside all day today. Thankfully, it was not actually that terrible for the end of November in Ohio. It was probably in the low 50s, high 40s. And there was no precipitation, so that's a win. So they were out there, and so I was doing my card and kind of entertaining my peanut. Half the time he was with Dad, half the time he was with me. So when I was doing this, he kept coming in saying, "Can I make a card? Can I make a card? Can I make a card?" And he likes to make the card with the camera on, which is darling because then I have all these like funny videos for, when he gets older. But he can't do it while I'm making a card. So we had to have Nathan time to make a card kind of in between all of the coloring I was doing. So it's kind of like broken. It's like pieces, parts. I didn't really know where I was coming or I was going or what I was doing. So with the tree, I like me some bright colors. I'm all about the brightness. And so for this tree, I colored the entire thing in with a YG03, and then I'm going in and adding my shading with some Gs. I am adding kind of like a cast shadow, so a line underneath the garland and the ornaments that are on there. But then I'm doing like little flicks of color toward the bottom. I'm not completely covering up the bottom edge because I do want that to be lighter. But basically, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. In between hanging out with my peanut, making this card, I was also doing laundry. That was my phone. Please ignore my phone because I did not have the forethought to turn it on silent before I started this voiceover. And a regular person would just ignore it and pretend like there wasn't some crazy whistling in the background. But if you have the same text message alert as I do right now, you're probably looking around, or you would have been looking around, wondering if that was your phone going off. It's not, it's mine. So you're welcome. Moving on. I was doing laundry, and I think we have a laundry room that is similar to most people's laundry rooms, which is it's very tiny. There's nowhere to hang anything. You have like you can fit one drying rack in there, and then it's like also the catch-all for other things. Like we have a mini fridge in there, and that's where like our pantry overstock goes. And also, I wait, basically until I've run out of socks completely to do laundry. This is like my son's laundry, I'll do all the time. My own laundry, I pretty much wait until there's nothing left. I have like one, purple sock and one orange one, and I'm like, nah, can I make an outfit out of this? So for the green trees in the background, I ditched the YG03. I used just the Gs, and then I colored them the same way, but the one that's furthest in the back of that grouping of trees, I even ditched the the G05. I just did it with the two darker colors. Don't forget when you're coloring things, especially when you have to color around a lot of objects, that the colorless blender is your friend. I knew I wanted to color the garland like a silverish white, and I had a lot of green in my garland. I just did because it's hard to color around things even when you've been doing it a long time. So I just cleaned that up with the colorless blender, and now I'm really just adding shading to like the dips in it, so that it looks like it is flowing up and down. I used the C3 and then blended it out with the C1, but I did leave some white in there. I picked my favorite brown combination for the tree trunk and the box that the ornaments are in. The E50 family. I love the E50 family. I talk about them like they're my neighbors. Like, took Nathan to school the other day, saw the E50 family. They're such nice people. What am I even talking about? So anyway, the laundry situation. So there's not a lot of room, obviously, in my laundry room. And I get you would think, so people redo their houses all the time, right? They're like, we'll redo the kitchen, the family room, the kids' bedrooms. how many people really redo their laundry room? Because we're not one of those people, but it is the room that I have to spend time in. Like, unless I want to go around in dirty clothes, and I'd like to have friends, so that's not an option. Um, you just never you never think to remodel it, but it is the room that I hate the most because I have so many clothes that have to be hung dry. Like, I don't even know why I do that to myself. Am I the only one? Like, I can't put them in the dryer because they will shrink, so I have to hang them or lay them out, and I have no surface area to lay them out. So then I have to hang them, and like I have to wash my clothes in like shifts. I'm not even kidding you. So I have to like have like 4 days off of work to do all of my laundry. This may or may not be because I don't do all of my laundry until I have one orange and one pink sock left, like I said. But I have to do them. I can't do it all at one time. I can't because I don't have enough room to hang my clothes. And it's not even like we have like a teeny tiny little house. We're not living like, in a shanty in like some backwoods of Alaska or anything. We live in a regular house, and it's just a tiny laundry room. And whenever I'm doing laundry, like, so you do the laundry, and then I take the wet clothes out of the washer. I put them into the dryer for about 5 minutes. I let them tumble around in there a little bit, especially with my dryer sheet. That makes me happy because it smells good. And then I have to pull out all of these wet clothes and put them on hangers. And the other wet clothes that I've already hung are like hitting me in the face. There's socks falling out of the dryer onto the floor after I've just washed them. Everything's like gets cold and it's not a good situation. So every single time, this is probably why I wait like 400 years to do. That might be a small exaggeration. I am not quite 400 years old. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm not quite that old. But anyway, so that might be why I just avoid doing it altogether, because I just don't like the laundry room. Maybe that's it. So there's my epiphany. Anyway, back to the coloring. I picked some gold colors for the star here. I'm also going to color the stars on the tree the same color. You saw me do the igloo. I added that BB 000 over top of the little igloo. And it's because I'm going to color the rest of the snow that same, that range of colors. So once my stars were done, I'm busting out the red markers. I tried to do everything that I could think of that was going to be white before I busted out the red, because the C markers will pick up that red and just carry it, and I don't want it streaked all over my card. Another thing that I need to admit to, these little ornaments are super teeny tiny. I knew I needed all of the red markers for the scarves or presents that I was going to be coloring, so I pulled them all out, but I certainly did not need all of them for these little teeny tiny ornaments, and neither do you. Just go, I guess you could do a 3-color blend. You could probably even get away with a 2. I was just, in the mode of, I got to get this colored before my peanut comes back in and I have to entertain him again. But I will tell you, I started using the subscription to Kiwi Crates, which is for kids. And so yesterday we built a solar system mobile, which was kind of pretty cool. It came with like watercolor stickers that he painted. And then we built the mobile and put the planets he painted on like little cords so it would hang down. And they gave you like a yellow paper lantern with like a keychain light bulb. So that was the sun. It was actually really nifty. Another time we built a stethoscope so he could listen to his heartbeat. He was actually way more intrigued with listening to the dog's heartbeat, but nonetheless, so we those make things a little bit easier as far as entertainment purposes, and especially with winter coming up. It's Small Business Saturday. That's what it's called. And also heading into Cyber Week. So if you have little ones, that might be something to look into because they probably have a deal going on. Speaking of deals, Simon Says Stamp does actually have deals going on, and they have had them going on all week. So today's, which is November 25th of 2017 till midnight tonight, they have 2 different deals going on. You can do one or the other. The first one is free shipping with a $50 purchase in the US, or $7.99 off your shipping if you are international, which I know I've heard a lot of people say international shipping is crazy. And so that's maybe something to look at. I think a lot of people don't understand that international shipping a lot of times is based on the customs you have to pay to your own country, not because it's just outrageous for these companies to send it. But anyway, so those are two different deals that are going on till midnight tonight. I will link them if you're watching on YouTube. I'll link them below, the little codes you can use if you would like to do some shopping. I'm all for supporting small businesses, because you are, you're feeding somebody's family when you buy from these businesses versus, buying from a chain store. This is, their literal livelihood. You have people who, their kids, their husbands are helping them pack orders in their basement. And so like anything that I can do to support those little people, I'm totally for that. And if you are too, then this is something that you can do. Also, you probably don't need me to tell you, because Jennifer McGuire, but if you have not seen, Jennifer has actually compiled a list of all of the deals that are going on her blog. But the one that I really, really loved is she's compiled a list on Facebook where she posted a status for Small Business Saturday and encouraged people in her life that have small businesses to share their links. And there's tons of good stuff. Like I saw some jewelry, if you're into essential oils, some stamp companies. What was the other one? There was one, this lady makes little like houses, like little cottages. Those were adorable. So I will be shopping those at some point this evening. I know this video is getting up late. Hopefully you've seen it. If not, I'm here to tell you, you only probably got about 4 hours by the time this thing goes live. My bad. That was just the kind of life I was having today. So we're going through and just getting everything kind of colored up. I was working with those 4 colors, red, green, yellow, blue, and I tried to stretch them as much as I could across all of the card. For the little bows, I really just added shading where it was gathered and where the tails were coming out. For the scarves, I really I added the shading more on the left hand side. If the penguin was on the right, I tried to add shading to the right hand side so it was more centralized. I'm finally going to color in their little feet and their little beaks, and I'm going to do that with a YR04. I'm not going to do any other shading just because I felt like it wasn't necessary. With everything that's going on here, nobody's going to be concentrating on these little penguins' feet. Feet. No S on the end, Kelly. What are you even saying? It's like I don't even have an education sometime. Feet. What? You ever send a text message? This happens to me all the time. And so you know the difference between your and your ownership, Y-O-U-R, and you are, Y-O-U''. Sometimes when I am sending text messages, I just click, it gives you the answer. So you just click whatever's there because that's the one that you use the most. You train your phone on the language that you use or the words that you use the most, however way you speak. And sometimes I just click it and I don't even pay attention, and then I see it as the text message is sending, and I have to fight with every ounce of my being not to send them a text message that says, I'm not an idiot. I know that's the wrong your. I was just clicking very quickly in my text message. But I figure people don't actually care unless they're the grammar police, and then they're going to tell me that's the wrong your, and I'll be like, I already knew that. Thank you for your criticism. But anyway, here I wanted to just give them some ground to stand on. So I chose those BV colors. I don't know what it is about a blue violet snow, but that's my preference, especially if I'm coloring a winter night scene. So I went ahead and did that same way I would always do. And then just to blend it out a little bit more, I'm going in with that colorless blender I used earlier, just around the edges, really. I have this silver Jelly Roll pen, and this is how I'm going to make the garland a little bit shiny. So I'm just really adding a little scribble of a line on each place that it dips in, so where the shading already is. I'm also going to add some detail with my white gel pen. I decided I was going to cover up where my red bled into my green on the top of this guy's hat with just a little I don't know, a white accent, and then I added the same thing to the bottom of his stripes, or bottom of his scarf, and then I did some stripes on the other guy's hat and maybe a little bit of polka dots. I'm going to outline everything because that's how I roll, and that's what makes me happy. So I'm outlining all of that. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is actually take Stardust stickles and kind of dot them all over. And when I mean all over, I mean all over. I'm going right over my characters. I wanted something that was going to mimic snow without taking away from all of the coloring that we have already done here. So again, check out those small business sales today. I'm sure that there'll be other sales going on through Cyber Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.